We're on an Oracle Linux 6 box named Cloud One, and I've brought up the Enterprise Manager Cloud Control 12c. I'm going to log on with the default administrator account, sysman. I have my Cloud Control set to go to my database targets by default, and I have a 12c database called psite.localdomain. I'll give that guy a click to go to its homepage. And right off the bat, I want you to see, now first of all, there's nothing too exciting going on here because I just have a one-user database. There's really nothing happening. We're going to fix that in the next module because I'm going to generate some artificial load. But we see here in this summary screen, we can get at a glance what's going on as far as uptime, the version of the database, its load, total number of sessions that are running, available space, used space, total SGA memory utilization, and then check this out. We have these hyperlinks. There's nothing there, so there's nothing to click. But we can get to our ADDM findings very quickly right on the home page. Now to set those initialization parameters, we can go directly to the initialization parameters area, or we can open up performance, come down to AWR, AWR administration. Asks us to log into the target database, and I have my psite running, let's see, sys. I've already stored credentials here, so I'm going to log in as sysdba. And this is where we can configure AWR. Specifically, we have our snapshot retention and our interval, right? We can do this all with SQL Plus, of course, but I'm going to stay with Cloud Control for this course because for something like performance tuning, looking at those charts and graphs is invaluable. And we also can see the number of snapshots that have been generated so far, the number of baselines that have been built. We can run an AW report, or we can do a compare periods report just by using these buttons. Notice that it says collection level all. Let's click edit here, and this allows us to specify changes to our retention period. Let me make it 16 instead of 8. And instead of my snapshot interval being an hour, I'm going to set it to 10 minutes because in this lab environment, I want to generate as much stuff for you to see as possible. Remember that Cloud Control is an enterprise multi-database administration tool. So check this out. Execute on multiple databases. Isn't that cool? For collection level, it says all. And if you click all, it jumps to a different screen. It brings us specifically to our initialization parameters page, as we can see. And we want to set statistics level down here to either typical or all. I've actually changed it already. I've set it to all to make sure that we're gathering as many features as possible. The other parameter, and I'm going to actually look it up right here, control_management. I'll click go to find that initialization parameter, and you want to set that to diagnostic or diagnostic and tuning. Now there's arguments on whether you want to be maximizing your stats gathering as a rule or if you just want to do it when you're actively performance tuning. Some DBAs are very sensitive about adding any load to the database. It's up to you. Now let me click Show SQL. Oh, I didn't make any change, it says. Well, how about I select Diagnostic here and then Show SQL. For your learning purposes, especially if you're going to take the certification exam, you have to know SQL in addition to the graphical interface. So remember that when we set initialization parameters in SQL+, we use alter system set and then the name of the parameter, then the value, and then we can optionally add scope depending upon whether we're changing the value just in memory, just in the parameter file, or both. All right, let me set this back to diagnostic and tuning and click apply. It says no change to apply because I actually haven't changed anything. Unfortunately, I'm not seeing an easy way back to the AWR screen, so let me come back to performance, AWR administration. Let me edit and make sure that these are still set. Nope, it didn't keep my changes, so let me make sure I fix that right here. Show SQL. And notice what's happening here. Most of the actions in Cloud Control, I mean, we're using web controls using these buttons and menus, but under the hood, we have PLSQL packages being run. And in particular, DBMS_workload repository is a big one for AWR. And if you're wondering, well, can I access this in code? Yes, you absolutely can. Everything we do in this course can be done using PLSQL and SQL if you don't like Enterprise Manager Cloud Control. So I'll periodically show you the SQL here just so you can be comfortable. Let's click Return, make sure that our settings are cool, and this time let's OK to put that into effect. Good deal.